What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here with Malcom from Big Mac's Breakdowns with another rookie watch. We're, 5 games into this season, coming off the bye week. I thought this is a good time to check in with you, Malcom. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, coming off of my own bye week, and
Very good, very good.
ready to get back into it. And we'll way to
Yeah,
kick it off then on Cheesehead TV with Aaron
that's
Nagler,
what I
man.
like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Obviously, we got a lot to get through here because this is a team that is playing a lot of rookies. So we've gotten to see most of these guys. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
like the Daniel Carlsons of the world, we're not going to get
Right,
a chance to
right.
see, but thankfully. But a lot of these guys are playing a lot of minutes and a lot of snaps
Yeah.
and putting a lot out there on tape. And I'd love to get your take on most of them. Starting with, I'm going to start. Hey, I got to give you a shout out. I got to start with the kicker, Anders Carlson. You said it. Back this summer, you were 100% behind this guy. You said the word was grace. We had to stick with him. You had to have faith. And look, he has paid off not only your faith, but the Green Bay Packers' faith in him. I mean, look at this kid.
Yeah, I had to put the house on the market for Anders Carlson, man. I swear, my whole legacy, I had to put it behind him because, you know,
so good.
I'm not a special teams guru or anything. Like, I'm pretty sure there's people out there like that, but I know what it takes to have like a good special teams, machine running. And I said, like, once we start seeing consistency out of this field goal team as a whole, we're going to start seeing more consistency out of him. He now has a staple at holder with Dan Whalen. It seems like the blocking been holding up front, most importantly. So, man, he's been hitting them, and I wouldn't even say like it's been in clear elements. I know it hasn't been the worst elements, but there's still been some factors to his play as well. And he's been ice cold this whole time. He's been having that ice in his veins.
No doubt. Hey, look, man, there was no doubt coming into the season. I think that was one of the things that most Packers fans, if they're being honest, was, they're probably the most concerned about or most worried about. And he has been the rock in the rookie class as far as like just being called upon and producing every single time. But your point is interesting as far as like the elements, right? Like we all know things are very different down the stretch, November, December in Lambeau.
Right.
We'll see how he handles that. But yeah, so far so good.
Winter is coming. It's coming.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming, and I'm not gonna lie. I ain't worried per se, but I am interested to see how he fares in these Green Bay wins because I know it could get very hectic up there. We done had some historic games go back, do the field goals.
No question.
Super Bowls even go to waste. Super Bowl opportunities go to waste because we couldn't hit field goals. So
well, and the thing is you have to see how he operates and see how he continues to produce, hopefully consistently, like you said, especially if you want this kid to be your kicker for the next 10 years, what have you, which you have to think was the idea when they drafted him. But man, so far, so good. No question about it. Let's take a look at the top of the draft class and Lucas Van Ness, who, look, I think we all expected it to take a bit. I think the most reasonable fans knew that he was a bit of a project. You see a lot of activity with this kid, but not a ton of production yet. And I know he's playing behind a number of different guys, but he is starting to see, or looks like he's starting to see the field a little bit more, getting a few more opportunities. But we really haven't seen him produce with any kind of consistency. What do you see when you look at Van Ness?
When I see Van Ness, I see a guy that's still learning. First and foremost, I think just this past game they picked on him a little bit. Got an end around at the beginning of the game, and you just see Lucas Van Ness try to crash down on the run to the right. They bring it back left with the end around. I also think back in week 2 against the Falcons, I think he suffered like a light injury to his arms, and that's pretty much the name of his games. Those big arms that he has, so I can see how that could take away from his game as well. My biggest concern is not necessarily with Lucas Van Ness's talent; it's how he's being utilized. I looked up some of his PFF stuff, and he has 0, and I mean 0 snaps inside the tackles. And that's something that he did at Iowa. So I'm kind of questioning how he's being used as well, because I feel like if he were to kick inside on pass downs, he could work on some of those tools that he needs to work on and things like that, so that we can see some type of jump in his production. But I think as far as him, he's just a rookie right now. I think that's just what we're dealing with our first round rookies, which is typically what we deal with our first round rookies.
Right.
Like they're making Lucas Van Ness, he's a project. But I think he needs to be put in a position to at least improve or stay on the field and things of that nature. I think he's made some stops in the run game. He just hasn't come up with the sack production that I think we were hoping for. He played a lot this past game against the Raiders, but again, the utilization is key in my opinion as well. And I can say that about a few other rookies, how they're being utilized and why we're not seeing as much effectiveness out of them as we anticipated.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I think we talked about it this summer where we expected to see a bit more of that as far as him kicking inside on passing downs. I will say, maybe not in defense of the coaching staff, but we all know Jerry Montgomery, the defensive line coach, is obviously, as far as if he's going to kick inside, that is under his purview. And he is a real stickler as far as technique and needing to do the right things all the time to make sure you get on the field. I mean, look how long it took Devontae Wyatt to get into the rotation last year. And then the other issue probably, and again, it's not an excuse, but I think this has to play into it a little bit. They're not like getting the opponent into obvious passing situations.
Yeah, and that is, and that could go either way. I think that could go either way. Coaches and players not executing on early rundowns. But I think like when you start to give up those first downs that we give up late in the game, you have to start getting a little bit creative. And even though I wouldn't say kick Van Ness inside for a whole series, but give him a penetration chance just to let him penetrate the line, disrupt some things, because I feel like he does have that. I think he showed that in the preseason. I think he showed that in the pinch in the regular season so far. He's just playing so far away from the ball that we're only gonna hear his name a limited amount of times, especially because he's still learning on the fly as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I like what we've seen so far, but like I said, it's a lot. He is, like, to your point, he is learning. He is very much at times like, I think I equated it to like a puppy dog on Packer Transplants the other day. Like, he's just like running around and like, yeah, guys, I got it. You want me over here? Okay, I'll go over there. Like, there's a lot of that as opposed to like really drilling down and to your point, being like assignment sure and sound. And
because
I think that's to be expected,
Like, if you really just focus on him, like when you watch film and stuff, you could tell he's like trying to not do the wrong thing.
Right.
And that could play a lot, because they tell you not to play scared, they tell you not to play hesitant. That's one thing any coach will tell you on any level. Don't play scared, don't play hesitant. And I think he's not playing scared, but he might be playing hesitant because he just doesn't want to mess up. And then, in life in general, you could not try to mess up all you want. You're going to mess up anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of like just, again, like, I think as time goes on, I would say he hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been terrible by any means. Like, he hasn't really excelled per se, but I don't think he looks terrible at all. He could look a lot worse.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I know there'll be the negative naysayer group of Packers fans who always seem to chime in on these things. Like, you want so much more out of your first round pick. And I just, look back at Rashawn Gary, and I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but it's not like Rashawn lit up the world coming out the gate his rookie year. Right. Now, he was playing behind like two, stalwart vets in Smith and the Smith brothers, as it were.
The Smith brothers.
So, I'm not surprised that Van Ness is, like I said, a bit all over the map and looking like a rookie, because that's what he is. And they're not force feeding him. They're not giving him a ton of opportunities, but I expect him to get a bit better as the year goes on.
And I wouldn't be surprised and wouldn't be mad at all if he maybe even took a step back, because Rashawn Gary is starting to come along. He's starting to play more, he's been playing like himself, but just increasing his workload. Might cut back on Lucas Van Ness, and maybe then you might start to see him kick inside on pass downs or anything like that. So I think it's still just a wait and see on Lucas Van Ness. If I had to give him a grade, I think it's just incomplete at the moment.
That makes sense. Two guys who have seen the field quite a bit are the rookie pass catchers, the wide receivers, Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, who,
Yes.
man, you love their potential and you definitely see it. I gotta see more Wicks on the field.
Man.
That's my number one kind of takeaway from the first 5 games. That kid is a baller, and I want
Yeah.
to see more of him. But I also want to see. I'd love to see the pairing of them because I understand, like, if you're a coaching staff and you're drawing up your game plan and your concepts, you're putting guys together. I understand why maybe you don't want two rookies working together,
Right.
especially
Right.
all the time. But man, these guys are exciting. They have a ton of upside, and I love what we've seen from both of them so far.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from both of them so far as well, especially in that Atlanta game. I think both of them played a vital role in us potentially winning the game. Of course, we didn't win
Right.
that game, but just you seen the dog in them pretty much. And Jaden Reed, I know he had a more lackluster game the next week against the Saints, but you see when you just get the ball in his hands in the Atlanta game, he took a jet sweep to the house. Just get the ball out to him quick in the flat and just see what he can do. And I think he should. I think that Matt LaFleur should potentially, increase those. Just get the ball in his hands opportunities.
Yes.
And I know he didn't
Agreed.
have the most, yak production at Michigan State, but just because it's not in the stat book doesn't mean that he doesn't have it. He just needs those opportunities. And I know it's another discussion, but getting Jordan Love more quick throws,
Oh,
quick
I
throw
couldn't agree
opportunities
more.
all
Couldn't
together.
agree more.
I think
Yes.
Jaden Reed should be the main focus and just getting the ball in his hands because I would say he's probably been the most consistent pass catcher maybe outside of Dobbs that the Packers have had. And I know he had, a few drops in that Saints game, but it's like you keep giving him the ball. I don't even care because he's shown that he's able to put the ball in the end zone. Like he has to be at least one of the leading receivers in touchdowns this year. So like I think Jaden Reed just needs more opportunities as far as like just putting his gadget potential to use. As far as
Yes.
Dontavian Wicks, I think he needs more opportunities in the quick game, like more on quick slants and fade routes because he's not a burner. He's a little shifty but he's really physical up top. So I believe he could go across the middle, take some of those hits, get some of those catches with contact with a defender draped over him. I believe in him and being able to do that. Again, it's just about, are these guys preparing enough, or are the coaches trusting them enough to put them in these situations? But I would like to see a lot more of them as well, especially those guys could be like two main slot options. Let Christian Watson and Dobbs work the outside. But again, it's all about the opportunities. And like I said about Lucas Van Ness, is all about how they're being used. Are they using their strengths, or are we just running an offense? And I think that's a big question that we might need to ask as well.
That's a really good point because how much is being tailored to them as opposed to, okay, we're going to run our stuff, our offense, as it were, and we're just going to try and slot them in there. Because it does
Right.
feel like you did see the glimpse of their potential in that Atlanta game, and some of it maybe in the fourth quarter of that Saints game. But these last 2 games against Detroit and the Raiders, it
Yeah.
really does feel like what you're talking about. Like, as far as like, okay, here's our offense. We're going to slot you guys in and we're going to, oh, maybe it'll be productive.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be, but blah, blah, blah. Like, I really want to see more Wicks downfield,
Yeah.
especially in some of those intermediate routes. And I do think there's a lot of different mouths to feed, as it were.
Yeah.
Nobody's established themselves. No one's arrived. There's
Yeah.
not a guy. I mean, as
It's,
much as I love Romeo Dobbs and I love Christian Watson, it's not like they're proven entities in the NFL. They're still
yeah.
very young themselves, So I think, yeah, to your point, I want to see a lot more done to take advantage of the kind of skill sets of these guys
Yeah.
way more than we need. Like, well, this is the offense. We got to run it.
Because I'm not gonna lie, like it almost seems like Matt LaFleur is sticking to a certain amount of plays that he's willing to run, and
Yeah.
maybe he might think like, okay, we're gonna bring these guys along slowly, but defenses don't care about none of that.
No, they don't.
They're gonna
That's
be
so
on
true.
full attack mode. They're gonna be
Right.
on full attack mode. So I think while we are keep staying pace with the playbook, because the offense does look stagnant, maybe it's time to just kind of expand it a little bit, or make one of the guys a main focus. And it's like, okay, we're going to get the ball to him this type of way in this specific game. You're going to be the highlight. You're going to be the guy. If you're going to have this mentality where there's no wide receiver one in this wide receiver corps, then make a skill, make a game plan around one guy. At least try it for one game. I think Jaden Reed can be one of those guys for sure. That hey,
Totally agree.
like
Yes.
I saw a lot of soft coverage this past week. I seen a lot of soft coverage last week, and I thought maybe we could have got more screens, we could have got more quick out routes into the flat, and made these guys kind of
Oh,
adjust to us.
and
But
that's what was crazy to me. Yeah, and you saw them try some of that, like
yeah,
the horizontal game essentially. But when you're scheming up touches for Patrick Taylor, I don't know what we're doing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? When you've got
yeah,
Jaden Reed on offer and you're throwing it to Patrick Taylor 5 times, I don't. That to me is like, and I felt that during the game. It was like you got to start thinking players, not plays, because
yeah.
the plays I got, but like what the intended recipient on a lot of these, I was just kind of flabbergasted.
And that's a great point. Because I think it's time. It might be time to use Jaden Reed in the backfield a little bit, and
Yes,
maybe I haven't
yes.
seen really any split pony formations. Like I haven't really seen much of
Very
that.
rare. They've used a little bit, but not a
Like
lot. You're
maybe in the
right.
pinch, I
Yeah,
seen it in the Detroit
yeah,
game. I haven't seen it much since, but
yeah.
maybe when Aaron Jones come back, hopefully he comes back off the bye week. And even I know the Packer fans are down on AJ Dillon, rightfully so. But even getting both of them involved just to add another element to the offense
Yeah,
and not just be, so predictable almost, because I would
yeah.
like to see I would like to see what Jaden Reed does with swing passes and things of that nature, just getting the ball in his hands. Like
Or on a
it might be,
Texas route. Get
or
him
a
out of the
Texas route.
backfield and a choice route and get him in the middle of the field on a
Yeah,
linebacker. I'm all about this life. Like, I think
creating
that just makes the
mismatches
world of
is the
sense.
name of the game.
Yes.
That's literally the NFL right now, creating mismatches. And defensive coordinators, they're telling their guys not to cover grass, cover guys,
Mhm.
not grass. So, okay, if you're going to cover my guy one-on-one, well, I'm going to make sure that my guy has the best matchup. And again, Jaden Reed, if you put him up against a linebacker and maybe even a safety, I believe he gets open. I believe
Oh, that's a
he'll
W.
be able to do something with it.
Let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. Two guys who, day 3 picks. I
Yeah.
think it's funny for all that has transpired through these first 5 games. These two are probably like on the exact pace I expected
Mm-hmm.
as far as Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything out of them, good or bad, that has really truly surprised me. They've been about exactly what I expected and or that was advertised, right? Little
Yeah.
undersized, definitely need to hit the weight room this offseason.
Yeah.
But you've seen the disruption, especially from Brooks. I think you've
Brooks, yeah.
seen the upside and you've seen like the potential there. I'm really excited to watch them continue kind of down the stretch through the second half of the season because, again, the athleticism, the disruption, it's been
Yeah.
on display on occasion.
Yeah.
Certainly not with the consistency you'd like, but man, I like, again, pretty much exactly what I expected coming into the season is what we've seen from Wooden and Brooks.
Yeah. I would agree definitely on Brooks. Brooks had, and I mentioned him a few times when I've been on here, that I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if he played a substantial amount a substantial amount of snaps this season. And I would say again, like he hasn't looked great. I mean, he's a 6th-round pick at this point, and from what he's got, 7 total pressures.
Hmm.
Right here, I'm looking 2 total stops. Like he's nearing into that steal type of category, like the steal
Right.
of the draft. And again, against the Raiders, he did make a couple stops. He probably didn't make the play on. I think one of the plays he didn't make the play, but he definitely disrupted it. But then the next play came by and he stopped the play. So I think Carl Brooks is playing ahead of schedule. Again, not being the ultimate disruptor, but you do see some limitations, like lack of size, lack of athleticism. But you see the drive, you see the technique. He just lacks that size, and that's something that he just probably won't be able to overcome because men aren't built the same. But I think for
Right.
what we got him for, I think he exceeded my expectations, and I put that on Twitter. As far as Carl
Right.
Brooks, he came in as technically an undersized D tackle. Played out on the edge more, or played a lot on the edge at Auburn. So he was like that tweener, 275, 280. Like you said, get in the weight room in the offseason. Hopefully he could get up to like that 300-pound, at least 295 mark. I believe that you see another tandem alongside of Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark and TJ Slaton, that we will have that consistency on the interior to be able to dominate the trenches. But it's just like right now, it's just not that time, and that's what sucks because you can see it being that like us having that potential on the interior, but it's just like maybe a year too early to really like lean on them to make consistent stops.
Kicking out from the interior to the perimeter, looking at Carrington Valentine, it's fascinating to go back and watch some of the coverage of this kid this summer. And man, people were ready for him to just arrive, right? And like just make a stamp and carve his name into the rotation. And it's like, look, welcome to the NFL, kid. Because if you go back and watch that Detroit game, and I highly recommend you do not if you like value your mental health as a Packers fan. But you go back and you watch it, and it's like Jair's out, and it's like, okay, he's going to get his opportunity. And there are plenty of plays that you can point at and be like, oh, he plays with good technique here. He does what he's asked, and they're still completing balls against him. You know what I mean? There's one in particular up the right sideline where he's in good position, not perfect, but good position. And Goff just lays out a perfect ball.
It was like
for a significant completion. And it's like, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah.
This is the gig, man. Like, I haven't been disappointed with him in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, you see how he's getting pick sixes in practice and things like that. And people are getting all excited in the summer. It's like, okay, now we're into the point where people are game planning and knowing how they're going to attack him. It's a different world now. And again, I'm not disappointed, but he's got a ways to go.
Yeah. And you mentioned his technique, and I would agree. Like, he has been in phase. Like, he's not getting dusted. He's not
at all
being made to be a fool, getting hit with double moves. Like, you got to understand, like, these guys get paid to play as well on the other side of the football. So they're going to make plays, not to mention they already have the experience over Carrington Valentine. I think he hasn't necessarily, of course he hasn't had like a Sauce Gardner type of rookie season, but I would say it's been rookies that has looked far worse than Carrington Valentine. It might, and I would say this, I wouldn't be mad if I saw an increased role for Carrington Valentine because I know it's in him, and I feel like the only way he might get better is he might have reached that point where he's only going to get better if he continues to play. And again, another 7th round pick, but I think it might be time for Carrington Valentine to start playing a lot more. And I know we have Eric Stokes coming back, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have a rehab period as well. And again, against the Lions, he completed, or I think they completed one pass on him, 2.
Right.
Like, it's like Carrington Valentine.
That's the life of a corner, man.
I think if you wanted to slide him in the slot, try him out. If you're gonna be in this, let's see what they got type of mentality. Well, then let's see what they got.
Let's see what they got.
And
they did a little bit like towards the end of camp and preseason. They did show him at slot a couple of times. Like, it wasn't a large amount, but clearly they've experimented a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I at this point, look, God bless Keanon Nixon, but he ain't a slot. Like, I don't think he's consistent enough. Let's see what the kid can do. That's 100% where I'm at.
I agree. And he's shown that, because the gist was him coming in to knock that he was a better zone corner than man corner. And I think he's looked damn good.
He's looked good in man. I know. I agree. I totally agree.
And when
he's got a see ball, get ball mentality and a break on the football in a way that I'm like, this really doesn't line up with what I was told. All the scouting reports coming out of college. Like, in any way.
And again, still learning the ins and outs of man coverage. He still needs to learn how to have those ball skills in man coverage. And I think that's maybe his next step in his learning process as well, is just being able to find the ball. Because when I think it was Reynolds, when Reynolds made that catch on him,
it was
Valentine didn't even turn his head around. If he turns his head around, he's able to knock that ball away easily. But that's just, again, little things that he needs to grasp on. And a lot of DBs will tell you that, hey, like, my main focus is guarding the man in front of me if I'm in man coverage. Like, you're going to hear scouts and everybody say that, like, guys be focused on that man. And he could have did a lot worse. He could have, caused a pass interference or something like that. He didn't do that. You haven't really heard him having a lot of penalties as other guys on this team have been getting. Mm-hmm. So it's like, just put him out there. I just want to see him out there for the hell of it, man, because I think that, again, like,
that's the problem, though. Like, it's so easy for you and I to say, just put him out there for the hell of it. But then, like, our mortgage isn't paid by wins and losses by the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean? Like, these coaches, they got a whole lot more riding on this stuff. So I get their reticence.
I'm saying that because it feels like, just from a fan's perspective, it feels like, again, we'll be happy if we win. But if we lose, it's like, well, we're learning.
We want these young guys to learn. Exactly.
We're learning. And 100%. It's like,
100%.
okay, well, some guys aren't learning because they're not playing.
It's tough to learn on the bench.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're going to lose. If not saying we're not going to have I don't think we have a losing mentality, but just if we're not going to have that necessarily win now mentality, well, then let's make sure that we have guys on the team that can win now when it's time to win now.
There you go. Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
And these guys will need to be ready one day. And let's not wait until somebody's out. Let's not wait till Jair goes out with an injury, or Rasul Douglas or something like, God forbid that stuff happens. But just let's work them in as we're going. I feel like the pass defense is one of the strong points of this defense. The pass rush as well. So you could put a lot of people next to Rasul Douglas and Jair, and they'll survive.
They're gonna look okay.
Darrington Valentine will be able to survive if he has Jair and Rasul Douglas out there with him.
Totally agree. Let's flip it back to the offensive side of the ball. Wrap it up with the tight ends with Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. On the Kraft part, it's he had a rough summer, and there ain't a whole lot coming out of this regular season so far to dissuade some of the negatives we saw and heard during the summer. I think there's a possibility maybe we see a bit more of him as the year goes on, but man, right now it's all about Luke Musgrave. And you saw him getting chewed out on Monday night. Got to think probably some kind of spacing issue there on one of the routes. But this summer when we were in camp, we saw a lot of plays drawn up for Luke Musgrave. Can we get to some of these?
Exactly.
Can we get to some of these? Like, I know they have it. I saw it all summer long, but they're so apparently rarely called during these games. Can we start getting the ball in Musgrave's hands, please?
And you could say that about a lot of plays that we might have seen in the preseason that we're not seeing. Like, I haven't really seen that many bootlegs. I haven't seen
I have been screaming for the bootlegs.
I'm screaming for a lot of stuff.
For it.
I'm screaming for a lot, but bootlegs is one of them because you seen Luke Musgrave being able to get out into the flat, and he's just wide open right there. He's able to turn the field and get yards. Of course,
use that
you would like to see Jordan Love hit him on some of those seam routes. I think just again, let's play to where we're at right now. Right now, if Jordan Love isn't hitting him across the seam, let's find another way that we could get him the ball. He also was getting the ball underneath on some of those spot routes in the preseason as well. So let's just again, 3-step drop,
ran a play
Musgrave.
This summer. They ran a play when the Patriots were in town where they had a bunch set to the right. Where everyone kind of ran off the coverage, right? Musgrave does basically a jab step to his right, and then he drags underneath, to his left, across formation, across underneath all the coverage. I'm dying to see this play. I know it's in the playbook. Can we run it, please? I'm dying to see it.
And I'm dying to see it too, because we face a lot of man coverage because cornerbacks aren't scared of these receivers
at
and
all,
that's just the nature of it.
And of course they're not going to be, because we haven't done anything to make them scared.
Exactly. And I think Musgrave, I think he's itching to really, again, can we center an offensive game plan around one of these guys? Because I believe in Jaden Reed. I believe in Musgrave and being able to make plays, because that's what we drafted them to do. We didn't draft them to just, chip a D in, then go off into the flat and not even see the ball. Again, I know that Jordan Love needs to connect. He needs to connect once at least with Musgrave going up the seam. But it's like, okay, in the meantime, how can we work them in just to make the offense a little bit more fluid and a little bit less predictable? Because again, Musgrave is wide open in the flat. Even if it's third and 15, Jordan Love just not hitting him in the flat, and he's wide open in the flat. It might not pick up the first down, but it might, because he's that open. He's
that quick, and he's got the speed. And who knows what he does
yards after the
ball in his hands. Exactly.
So,
couldn't agree more. They're asking him to block so much, which, okay, I get it's part. Again, this is what we were talking about earlier. it's part of this is how the offense is run. Well,
Right.
can we just stop? Like, ask DeGuara to do that. Like, why we're asking Musgrave to do the thing we know he's bad at.
Right.
Like, coming out of school, everyone knew the book on this kid.
Exactly.
He can fly, he can't block, and we're not asking him to fly, and we're asking him to block. Like, I don't that's frustrating. That's just frustrating.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree with you more there.
Well, Malcolm, as always, this has been phenomenal. I love talking ball with you, man. Let people know, where can people find your stuff, both on Twitter, YouTube, where have you? Where are you online? What are you working on, man?
All right, so on Twitter, my name is HotBoyMK_. I tweet a lot of stuff other than football, but when it's about the Packers, I'm probably one of the more sour pussies of the fan base. But
hardly.
And
I know plenty more sour puss than you.
Right. And you might see me as a undercover Lions and San Francisco 49er fan. I'm sorry. I just love the way that they're playing football right now.
Well, they're fun to watch on offense.
But
although the Browns took it to the 49ers yesterday. That was fun.
Yeah, on YouTube, Big Mac Breakdowns. I don't know if my name will be on the screen, but it's BIGMAC Breakdowns. A lot of film breakdowns. I have taken a hiatus to fulfill some personal duties, but I'm back. Tomorrow, actually, I will be doing a live. Don't know about what yet, but it will be a live tomorrow, probably centered around what's wrong with Jordan Love and why is he missing throws and missing reads, because that's a topic that I don't think is being talked about enough. So I will be probably doing a live centered around that tomorrow. And those pretty much my two avenues of being able to connect with me. But
awesome.
If you really want the entertainment, come to Twitter. Come to Twitter, because
Twitter's where it's good, no doubt about it. I'll have links to both in the description of this video. Malcolm, Big Mac's Breakdowns. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.